Ladies and gentlemen, with the signing of the Epstein Papers Transparency Act, we have now witnessed the release of the second wave of the Epstein documents. This time around, a massive number of celebrities are involved. We are going to rank on a scale from absolute monster to completely innocent. All the public figures implicated in this release. To kick things off, we absolutely have to start with Elon Musk, because this time, Musk plays the ultimate comedic relief character. Before the documents were made public, what was Musk's public statement? He claimed that Jeffrey Epstein had repeatedly invited him to visit Epstein Island, but because he was so obsessed with developing rockets and new energy vehicles, he never gave in to Epstein's temptation. And never went to the island. Well, as soon as Epstein's emails were leaked this time, it pulled an immediate 180. It turns out Musk had previously begged multiple times to go to Epstein Island, even going so far as to ask Epstein, which day is the wildest party on your island? After that, it was just Musk repeatedly expressing a desperate desire to get on the island. But as it turned out, Epstein completely blew him off. And never actually let Musk set foot on the island from start to finish. In this round, Musk can only be ranked as an NPC, but the comedic value is just through the roof, right? Then we get to Bill Gates. Before this whole ordeal, Bill Gates had always kept a strict, no-comment stance regarding Epstein. But looking back at that incredibly messy divorce from his ex-wife, we can see a lot of clues in hindsight. And honestly, it really feels like a saint falling from grace. For decades, Bill Gates was put on a pedestal as a saint all over the internet. You have the Gates Foundation, donating hundreds of billions of dollars. Then Bill Gates leaves a will stating, "I won't leave my fortune to my children, it will all be donated to the Gates Foundation for charity in the future." But this time, the bombshell dropped directly. It turns out that prior to 2013, Bill Gates had accepted sexual services from a Russian girl provided by Epstein. At the same time, Bill Gates apparently has a very specific kink. He is particularly into married women, he has a huge thing for wives. And Epstein played pretty dirty. He hosted Bill Gates, but it turns out the girl might have been carrying something, which left Bill Gates with an STD. Bill Gates actually had to turn to Epstein for help, begging for high-grade antibiotics. Bill Gates absolutely belongs in the monster tier. We are literally witnessing history here, watching a saint crash and burn. His reputation is entirely ruined for the rest of his life. So, this story should serve as a lesson to everyone: never try to build yourself up with a morally superior public image. If things go south, right? You won't even have time to slam on the brakes. Then we come to Donald Trump. When it comes to the signing of this Transparency Act, we still have to give Trump some credit. Even though the signing of this Transparency Act came as a result of people of conscience from both parties uniting to put pressure on the higher-ups, if Trump hadn't ultimately signed off on it, this Transparency Act wouldn't have passed. And indeed, judging by the 3 million pages of records currently available, although Trump had interactions with Epstein back in the 1990s, there really isn't any definitive, smoking gun evidence proving that Trump had any obvious sex trafficking transactions with Epstein. So, to give credit where credit is due, Trump gets a point this time for allowing the Transparency Act to pass. But considering Trump's historically wild and untamed personality, we still can't quite place him in the completely innocent tier. Let's just leave him in the NPC category. And then, we come to the most disgusting character in this whole Epstein document leak, our old acquaintance, Prince Andrew of the UK. Prince Andrew has been plagued by endless scandals for years. Ever since the first batch of Epstein files was released, Prince Andrew was already beyond redemption. On top of his already long rap sheet, he was stripped of his royal status by the UK quite a long time ago. Now we should just call him Mr. Andrew. This wave is even more repulsive. 3 photos straight up show Andrew groping a young woman who is lying on the ground. It is truly sickening. Let's hurry up and put him right into the monster tier. Having mentioned Prince Andrew, we absolutely have to bring up his wife, Sarah Ferguson. This husband and wife duo really knew how to wild out. While Prince Andrew was deeply involved with Epstein, his wife Sarah was actually flirting publicly with Epstein in emails. For instance, she wrote things like, "My dearest, brilliant and special friend Jeffrey, you are a legend, and I am so proud of you." Sarah goes straight into the scumbag tier. Next up is a true heavyweight, President Clinton. Right here, we absolutely have to bring up that oil painting of President Clinton in a dress found inside Epstein's residence. after both Clinton and Hillary testified before Congress and stated under oath what they knew, this months-long political and legal battle finally quieted down. This Republican-led investigation was designed to shift the focus of the case onto top Democrats who previously had ties to Epstein. Clinton goes straight into the monster tier. And then we come to Lord Mandelson. His underwear photo has become an instant classic. A single image destined to circulate forever. Standing there in nothing but his underpants, holding who knows what in his hand, chatting away with some girl. As a former British diplomat, he not only left behind a clear trail of corruption, taking massive bribes from Epstein, but he is also one of the few British senior officials among all these people to be caught red-handed directly in a photograph. Currently, Lord Mandelson has been dismissed by the UK government, and is basically at rock bottom, right on the verge of landing in prison. We definitely have to place him squarely in the monster tier as well. Alright, next up we have Steve Bannon. Even though there is no direct evidence showing he accepted sexual services provided by Epstein, do you know what he actually tried to do? Between 2018 and 2019, Bannon wanted to film a documentary to whitewash Epstein. He basically wanted to clear Epstein's name and help Epstein so-called rehabilitate his image. The guy really operates completely outside the box. Let's put you in the criminal tier. Next up is another pretty big figure, the former president of Harvard University, Lawrence Summers, who was also the U.S. Treasury Secretary during the Clinton administration. For Summers, this wave of exposure completely shattered the public persona he had spent decades building. Not only did he harass his former female students, but he was also practically joined at the hip with Epstein in their correspondence. He has already resigned from multiple positions, including his seat on the OpenAI board. Given that Summers' chats with Epstein were just way too disgusting, cringy, and creepy, we are putting him straight into the scumbag tier. Next up is the former U.S. Commerce Secretary, Howard Lutnick. In this environment crawling with scumbags, Howard Lutnick truly managed to stay pure and untainted. Even though he did visit Epstein's island, judging by all his emails and the descriptions given by his family, Howard purely and simply just paid a quick visit to Epstein's island and had a meal there. What is a key piece of evidence for this? It's that Howard's own family, his wife and his children, all testified that Howard didn't do a single thing out of line. He really is a diamond in the rough, so we have to place Howard in the completely innocent tier. Next up is Miroslav Lajčák, the former foreign minister of Slovakia. The emails from this leak explicitly catch him red-handed, seeking sexual services from Epstein. Even though there are no photographic smoking guns, the wording used in the emails is incredibly cringy, referring to the girls by code names, and Epstein was actively coordinating the services. Lajčák has already resigned from his political posts, so let's put him straight into the scumbag tier. Then we have Steve Tisch, the co-owner of the New York Giants, a sports team owner and a billionaire. There are clear, definitive emails showing he reached out to Epstein seeking sexual services. Even though there aren't a massive number of files on him, we are still giving him a spot in the criminal tier. Next up is Brett Ratner, the director of X-Men, The Last Stand, and the Rush Hour trilogy. He is also one of those celebrities caught red-handed with explicit photos, so we are placing him right into the monster tier as well. Then we have Casey Wasserman. Who exactly is Casey Wasserman? He was originally the man in charge of organizing the Los Angeles 2028 Olympics, but because of this scandal, it caused his immediate downfall, so he definitely won't be organizing it anymore. In a 2003 letter he wrote to Ghislaine Maxwell, Epstein's madam, he said, "I keep thinking of you, what on earth do I have to do to see you in a tight leather outfit?" Even though there is no definitive evidence showing Casey accepted sexual services provided by Epstein, anyone who was that cozy with Epstein's madam is undoubtedly tangled up in all of this. So we are giving him a spot in the criminal tier. And then we have Sergey Brin. Sergey Brin is another massive billionaire, one of the original co-founders of Google. Emails show that he wanted to visit Epstein's island and heavily praised his time there, mentioning that having dinner with Epstein was absolutely delightful. At the same time, Epstein explicitly invited Sergey Brin to visit his island again for dinner and to live it up together. Let's place him straight into the scumbag tier. Next up is the former Prime Minister of Israel, Ehud Barak. He had multiple interactions with Epstein over the years, and back in 2017, Barack even discussed plans to stay at one of Epstein's luxury mansion apartments in New York City. While there is no explicit evidence of any sex transactions, he is still someone who is undeniably tangled up with Epstein. We are placing him in the criminal tier. Next up is the founder of the UK's Virgin Group, Richard Branson. Virgin Group is one of the largest service conglomerates in the UK, spanning aviation, aerospace, tourism, and various other sectors. In a 2013 email correspondence with Epstein, Richard Branson explicitly stated that he wanted to meet Epstein's entourage of women. As to whether this entourage consisted of adults or minors, it doesn't even matter at this point. This picture here is a screenshot of a photo taken of him and Epstein together. Richard Branson and Epstein, whether financially, socially, or even in terms of their sex lives, were deeply connected. He definitely has to go into the monster tier. Then we have the likes of Biden and Obama, whom people frequently mentioned before. But as it turns out, there really aren't many documents showing they ever visited Epstein's island, or had any deep connections with Epstein. At the same time, we shouldn't get overly hyper-focused on every single celebrity that pops up in the Epstein files. Take Michael Jackson, for instance. After all, Epstein was a professional power broker, and his social network was incredibly vast. So, it is perfectly normal that he would have photos with the biggest stars of the era. We still need to look at the facts and see if a person is actually caught red-handed engaging in transactional sex or corruption with Epstein. Alright. And that wraps up our ranking for this wave. Thank you all for watching.